Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Pits of Motorcast. This is Dave. I got a line special guest, alcohol injected dragster driver, Amanda Boicesco. Am I saying your last name right?
Yep, Amanda Boicesco.
All right. So how was your holidays, Amanda? You had good holidays?
Yeah, it was a little quiet due to, the pandemic going on, but, we're all healthy and happy, and, it's a good winter season just to recoup,
Yeah. So how was
How
your...
about you?
Yeah, quiet holidays, but it was nice.
Good.
So how was your drag racing season last year with the COVID? Did you do a lot of events?
Yeah, we actually had a really good year. We ran a full schedule. I try to run 5 to 6 NHRA national events a year, as well as 8 divisionals, and I run about 10 local association races. So I don't know how familiar you are, but on the East Coast we have a Mid-Atlantic .90 association. So anytime we have an off weekend, we go, and it's a good place to get some seat time and make some extra laps. But I had a very good season. I actually won the division championship, so I'm super thrilled with how it went.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you how the dragster run for you.
The dragster was great. I mean, this is like my 8th full season in the dragster, and we've had some ups and downs the first few years, but last year was the first year that we really ran tight, and the car stayed together the whole year, so it was good.
So, Amanda, how did you get into drag racing?
My dad, Iggy Boicesco, has actually run NHRA Super Gas for almost 40 years now. So I was born into it. I've been at the track since I was 4 or 5 months old, probably, and I ran a junior dragster for a few years before getting into Super Comp. So definitely was meant to be a drag racer.
So what age did you start the junior dragster racing?
I didn't start until I was 13. I wanted to start sooner, but money played a factor into that. And once my dad could afford it, he got me in when I was about 13.
So how'd you do in junior dragsters? Did you have success?
Yeah, I did pretty good. It's obviously a little bit harder when you start at 13, considering the kids that you're racing with started 5 years ago when they were 8. So there was a little bit of a learning curve. It took me, I think, 2 years to get my first race win. But once we got the car figured out and I kind of got used to it, I think I won the track championship my 4th year at Englishtown Raceway Park. So it took a little bit, but eventually we got there, and once we got rolling, it was good.
So how was your first time experience going down the drag strip in the junior dragster?
In a junior, it was actually kind of interesting. I remember, for me, I thought it was normal, but when I got back from the run, my dad was like, "Why were you all over the track?" And apparently the front wheels were towed out, like they weren't aligned properly, and I was all over the track, and I was really driving the car, but I thought it was great. But once we got the front end fixed up and the way it was supposed to be, it was a better experience.
Now, did you move straight from juniors to the alcohol injected dragster?
Yep. Yeah, we went from, I think my last year in a junior was 2012. So my first year in Super Comp was 2013. And I've been racing that same alcohol-injected dragster. It's an O2 undercover dragster. So I've been driving it for the past 8 years now.
So how was the transition moving from junior dragster to alcohol-injected dragster?
It was definitely a big step up. With the junior, there's not really much to worry about. Your parent or whatever starts up the car, and all you have to do is leave off the bottom bulb, kind of like foot braking. There's no electronics involved. And, you start the car up, you hit the gas, you go, hit the brakes, slow it down, and shut it off. There's not too much to it. But, when you move into a super comp dragster and, you bring in injection into the mix, it's a lot more to think about. It's a lot tougher, a lot more buttons and switches to turn on, and, starting line temp and water temp is a very important thing. Before you leave, you want to make sure that you have enough temperature build up so the car stays consistent. Alcohol generally runs cooler than gas, so harder to keep it hot. So I've kind of played around with a few things between leaning out the alcohol that's going into the motor to using a gas primer system, to warming up the car on gas in the lanes before making a run just to get the motor hot, and then switching over to alcohol before the run. So definitely a lot more to think about than just pointing and shooting down the racetrack.
So how was your first pass in that dragster?
I honestly can tell you that the first 60 feet, I probably couldn't see what was going on. I mean, to me, it felt so fast that I couldn't really see what was going on around me, and I actually lifted probably 60 to 330 feet down the track. And, with each pass, it got a little better. You get used to the speed and to your surroundings moving around you. So, after my first day, I got a lot more comfortable in the car.
So what's the fastest pass you made in that dragster now?
In my car, we put a aluminum 655 big block in there maybe 2 years ago, and we used the alcohol injection, and it went. So I run super comp. It's a 890 index. We use a throttle stop. So I was going 890 in the quarter at about 188 mile an hour. So that's pretty good mile an hour for an all-motor super comp dragster. Flat out, without the throttle stop, I've been 734 at 182, 183 in that car with a different motor combination.
Now, when you go drag racing, who are your crew members?
So I've got my dad. Like I said, he's been in the sport for 40 years, so I've learned a ton from him. And then his best friend, Jello, his real name's Bob Senior, but we call him Jello. It's just one of those nicknames that comes with the person. He helps me out. My dad still races, so, it's kind of hectic in our pit between keeping the two cars up and running and making sure everything's fueled up and tires have the right amount of air pressure in them. And, there's a lot of stuff that can be forgotten. So Jello keeps us on our toes. And my boyfriend, Wes Siegel, actually bracket races 1969 Camaro. So sometimes he's at the same race as I am, and he helps me out. But other times he's off on his own racing as well.
Now, do you have any sponsorship at all?
Yeah. So George and Linda Donhauser at Bellhaven Service Center, they're out of Maryland. They've actually sponsored me since I was 13 and I first started in a junior. So it's been a long time, and, they've stuck with me every year. So I'm forever grateful for all of their help.
Now, do you have any favorite tracks to race on?
My favorite track is probably New Media Dragway in Shamokin, Pennsylvania. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the East Coast. I think you're in Illinois.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Field of Dreams movie, where you're surrounded by cornfields and out in the country, and in the middle of all that, there's a drag strip. But, it's amazing. At night, you can see the stars, and the track surface is phenomenal, and it's run by a phenomenal family, the Domino family. They love the sport, and they love the racers, and they truly understand the meaning of what it takes to run a first-class racetrack. So I definitely say New Media Dragway.
Now, is that track quarter mile or eighth mile?
Quarter mile.
Now, do you do both quarter mile and eighth mile racing?
Yeah, I mainly do quarter mile. I prefer to do quarter mile, but once in a while I'll play around at a bracket race, and most of the bracket races around here are 8th mile, 2,000 foot. So I kind of do a little bit of everything.
So what do you enjoy most about being a drag racer?
It's a tough question. I love pretty much all of the aspects of it. From a social perspective, I love, going to the track on the weekends and getting to barbecue with my friends and relax and get away from work and the reality of life for a little bit. I love working on the car with my dad and learning. And, obviously there's nothing like going down the track and turning the wind light on. I mean, it makes all your hard work really worth it.
Now, is there anything that you hate about being a drag racer?
Yeah. Breaking stuff isn't fun. It's tough, when you're on a budget and you can't afford the best parts. Stuff breaks, and if you're in the middle of a race and you're hot lapping in between rounds and something breaks and you have to fix something real quick, or, it's a lot of work and it costs a lot of money, and that's definitely one of the negative aspects of the sport. If you can't get fixed in time and you end up missing a round because your car's not working right.
Now, if you could have your drag race fans that come to watch you race remember one thing about you, Amanda, what would you want that one thing to be that they remember about you?
Probably that I work really hard and that I do whatever it takes to win. I have a pretty demanding day job, and I know I need that to afford to race. So I work hard during the week, and then nights and weekends are spent slaving over that dragster to make it run and make it win. And I just love the sport, and I love turning that wind light on. So I do whatever it takes.
Now, in the pit area, do you put little kids in the car?
Yeah, for sure. My dad always said that's good luck. If there's ever a little kid looking at your car and they want to jump in, definitely pick them up and put them in there, and you might win a race because of it, and you might make their day. So that's definitely something I do.
Yeah, you might make a future in a drag racer too. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. It might, spark something in them sitting in that car.
So now, do you think that you can get better as a race car driver? And if so, how do you achieve that to get better?
Yeah, I mean, there's always room for improvement, and there's always different ways that we try to get better. One thing my dad always taught me is that you have to continue to innovate and keep up with the time to make your car better and yourself better, because everyone else is constantly getting better. And to keep up with the competition, you have to be able to keep up with them. So, aside from using the latest and greatest technologies and making your car the best you can be, there's also ways like physically getting in shape. I know I'm not in the best physical shape or the shape that I'd like to be in, but anything you can do to keep your energy level up while you're racing and, keep that stamina up throughout the day while you're, going around. That's very important in being a good driver. And different ways to mentally stay sharp. You have to have that ultra focus to hit the tree every time, to anticipate what the driver next to you is going to do and make the right decision at the finish line. It's like you got to eat good and feel good and definitely have your mental game strong to be a good driver. So I'm going to continue to better myself and better my car to hopefully keep up a successful career.
All right, now besides good old Dad, do you have any other drag racers that inspired you or you look up to?
Yeah, I always looked up to the females in the sport just because when I was about 10 years old, my dad won Indy in Super Gas. And when he won Indy, a friend of mine, Heather Fetch, she used to be Heather Robolato, actually won Super Comp at that race when she was like 20 years old. And that inspired me to, if she can do it, like, that definitely made it, like, possible in my head that a girl can be successful in drag racing. So I look up to her. I look up to my friend Kelly Barbado in Super Street, Kara Stricker in Top Dragster, Kara Stein, Jackie Frick in Top Alcohol Dragster. You name it. I've got so many role models to look up to. Katie Sapanic in stock, mostly NHRA drivers, but I know there's some awesome bracket racers out there too. So.
Now, do you look up to any of the ladies in the top field dragsters?
I enjoy watching the pros, but I'm more of a sportsman drag racing fan myself.
Now, your family's always been involved with your drag racing, right?
Yep.
All right, now, if someone, might be listening to an interview, whether it be a young kid or adult, teenager, and they're thinking about drag racing, what kind of advice would you give?
Just that, it's not easy. It's definitely something that you have to want, and you have to make a lot of sacrifices. You have to, sometimes you have to sacrifice hanging out with your friends on the weekend that aren't into racing and going to family gatherings and social gatherings. If you want to be the best and you want to be good, you have to dedicate a lot of your life and a lot of your time to the sport. And, if you work hard, there are ways to be successful. You just got to find that good support system around you and keep after it. Be determined and don't be afraid to go out and search a sponsorship and make it work for yourself.
All right, now Amanda, when you get out there in the staging lanes, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions when you get out there?
Yeah, I'm definitely a little obsessive. Before I make a run, I usually circle my dragster about 3 times, checking to make sure that, my fuel caps are on and the water cap's on and my tire pressure's correct and my shocks are in the right place. So if you see me circling my car a few times, nothing's wrong. I'm just making sure everything's okay.
Now, does it take a lot of preparation to get that dragster ready for a weekend of racing?
When it's running good, it doesn't take too much preparation. When it's behaving and the motor's good and the trans and converter are good and, there's not too much maintenance involved. If it's just a week-to-week thing, basically making sure we're keeping up with oil changes every 25 runs and making sure that, trans fluid is good and making sure that you change the tires every 40 or 50 passes or so. So pretty standard maintenance. But when things are acting up and, you got to change your motor or transmission, it's definitely not an easy task to maintain all those extra parts and all the work it takes to switch them out.
So what's been one of your most memorable wins?
Probably the Rockingham Divisional last October. Going into the race, I think I was about 4th or 5th in the division. So my dad and I drove down to North Carolina, and I knew I had to go about 4 rounds to take the lead for the division championship. And I actually ended up winning the whole race, and my dad won the race with me, so we doubled up. And that race gave me the division championship, so that's something I'll never forget.
So how did the Relentless name come about?
So my dad's car has always been, well, it hasn't always been. He's had multiple names. Most recently, his 2017 Corvette Roadster is named Obsession. So when I started racing, my junior dragster was actually Junior Obsession. And then when I got into the big car and started racing super comps, I kind of wanted to branch out and have my own name and my own identity. And I honestly, someone just recommended Relentless, and I'm like, that's perfect, because, you have to be relentless to be good at this sport. You can't give up. You have to keep after it. You have to work hard, and, that's the definition of Relentless. So it was a good fit for me.
Now, do you have any other hobbies outside of drag racing?
Not too many. I like to watch Netflix. Before I started racing, I actually bowled in high school. So I like bowling. I haven't done it in a while. But, because work takes up a lot of time, and, racing's pretty busy in the summer, I like to relax. So I like to kick back and read a book or watch some Netflix when I have free time.
So have you won a lot of trophies?
Yeah, I'd say so. My house is like a museum between my dad and I, mostly my dad. But I'm making my way up there. In NHRA drag racing, the Wally is what everyone wants. So I'm pretty happy. I think I have like 5 divisional and 1 national event Wally, and once my division championship Wally gets here, I'll have 7. So I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy about that.
All right. Now, throughout the years you've been drag racing, now have you had any accidents or close calls?
This was the first year I had a close call. I was at Columbus at the sports national race, and the shutdown is kind of short, and I think what happened was my brake fluid actually overheated because we were hot lapping rounds, and I was using a lot of the brake pedal, and I actually didn't have brakes after 4th round, and I didn't think quick enough. Thinking back now, I probably should have put the car in first or pulled the parachute, but stuff happens fast, and I actually ended up in the sand pit at the end of the track. But everything was fine. I actually won that round. So, they towed me out of the sand, and we replaced the fluid and got back out there and ran 5th round. So, it was a close call. It could have been a lot worse. I'm very lucky. But definitely a scary experience that I wouldn't wish on anybody else.
Well, knock on wood, you won't have any accidents.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, Amanda, if you were able to find a time travel machine and go backwards in the time, would you do anything differently with your drag racing?
Huh. That's a good question. I haven't really thought about that. I don't think I would change anything about my car. I love my car. It's been good to me the past 8 years. I would probably go back and change the way I drive. I've definitely improved a lot this past year or so. So if I could go back and teach my past self how to drive in juniors or in super comp my first few years the way I do now, I think that would be pretty cool to see what could have happened in the past.
So where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
I think I have a mix. My pants are Simpson and my jacket's Sparco, so I don't favor one brand over another. I think they're all great. I have a Simpson headstock because I wear the Simpson hybrid Hans device. I'm really into safety equipment, and I believe if you're racing one of these things, you should probably have a Hans device or a head and neck restraint. So I'm a big proponent of those.
Now, have you reached any milestones in your drag racing career so far?
Yeah, I think, aside from this year winning the division championship, a big milestone was winning the 2016 Dodge Nationals at Reading. That was my first and only national event win. And, that's something everyone in drag racing wants to have a national event in Wally. So I consider myself very lucky and very blessed to have one.
Now, as far as the sport of drag racing goes, do you have anything on a bucket list that you would love to do in drag racing?
Yeah, for sure. The bucket list never ends. I'd like to win Indy. I feel like that's number one on a lot of people's bucket lists. And I would like to qualify for the Jegs All-Stars race. It used to be in Chicago. Now it's in Indy. So, step one is qualifying. Step two would be to win that race. I don't think there's a much greater honor, aside from winning the world, than winning the All-Star race and being on that stage.
Yeah, hopefully Route 66 will open up again one day.
I know. I heard some bad news about it, that it's not going to be a racetrack anymore.
Yeah.
Sad.
Because of COVID.
Dang. It's awful.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah, it's always a bummer when you lose a track.
Yeah, I'm really going to miss that place. I have been there twice now, as my dad was the All-Star a few times. And, it's a beautiful facility, and it's sad to see it go.
So do you have any tracks on the bucket list that you would love to race at one day?
I think I'd like to try Vegas. It's a little far for me, but I've always wanted to race there. It looks like a really awesome track. And Galot's in North Carolina. So I heard it's an amazing facility, and that's probably a more realistic track that I'll get to race at. I don't know if Vegas will ever happen. That's a pretty tall order to fill when you're from Pennsylvania.
So what are you looking forward to the most out of the 2021 season?
So I actually raffled off my red 02 Undercover Dragster last weekend. I'm going to be very sad to see it go. It was such a good car to me. But, I felt like the championship was a good marketing opportunity to sell the car and move on to some bigger opportunities. So I actually purchased the 2006 Undercover Dragster. That's a little bit more of an upgrade. It's all carbon fiber. And, I'm looking forward to setting it up and seeing what we can do with a new ride.
Now, is the car ready to go yet?
No. I'm actually waiting for the person who won the raffle to pick up the red car. And once they do, I'll be able to bring my new-to-me car over from my boyfriend's house, and we can start working on it and putting the motor, trans in it, and getting it ready for the 2021 season.
Cool. Now, you ready for some fun questions, Amanda?
Sure.
All right. What's your favorite food to eat?
My favorite food?
Yep.
Ooh, that's a tough question. I love all food. I'm going to go with a good cheeseburger off the grill.
Now, do you cook?
I do, a little bit. Not as much as I'd like to, but a little bit.
So what do you consider your best dish to cook?
I'm going to go with spaghetti because I'm Italian and I love a good spaghetti and it's easy.
All right. What's your favorite beverage to drink?
Adult beverage or regular beverage?
You can answer both.
All right. As far as normal drink, I like Diet Coke. For alcohol, I used to love the black and blue margarita from Longhorn. But right now, I've really been into Tito's and cranberry juice.
What do you say, is that the steakhouse Longhorn?
Yep, Longhorn Steakhouse. They used to have a black and blue margarita with blackberries and blueberries and raspberries, and it was awesome.
All right, so now, if you have time to go on vacation, what's your favorite vacation getaway?
Wow. So, because we've always been so into racing, I haven't gone on very many vacations. If I was to take a vacation, I'd love to go to the Maldives and have one of those on-the-water bungalows. Just a quiet place where I can jump in the water and relax and read a book and eat some good food. That's all I really need.
Now, when you're at the track on race day, how's your eating habits? Do you eat lightly during the race day and wait till the races are done, or do you eat normally during the day?
I eat pretty regularly, maybe on the lighter side during the day. I can't go anywhere without my cup of coffee in the morning. You can't even talk to me before I have my coffee. It's like the first thing I do in the morning. Then I usually have a bowl of cereal, a sandwich for lunch. But then once the race is over, we eat good for dinner. I'm a big fan of grilling, nothing like steaks or burgers and dogs or chicken on the grill. And, some good sides like a baked potato or vegetables and good racetrack food.
All right, so what's your favorite movie of all time?
Wow, now you're really testing me. I don't have one particular favorite movie. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so the whole Harry Potter series I'm going to go with.
Now, you like Twilight?
I do.
All right, so what when you were growing up as a kid, Amanda, what was your favorite cartoon to watch? Did you have one?
My favorite character?
No, cartoon.
Oh, cartoon. I don't think I watched many cartoons. I mean, I think I watched SpongeBob. You're really testing my memory going back to when I was a kid, but, I still watch SpongeBob now, so I'll go with that.
All right, that's good enough. So, what's your favorite type of music to listen to?
I'm a big Nickelback fan. I know some people hate them, but I love them. I've seen them in concert 3 or 4 times now. That's the biggest pre-COVID activity that I miss is going to concerts and listening to music.
So you like rock music?
I like rock.
Now, are you a dog person or cat person?
I'm a cat person. I have a 11-year-old, soon to be 12, tuxedo cat named Oreo, and she went to Indy when she was like 6 weeks old, and she's been racing with me ever since.
Oh, that's neat.
Yep.
What's your favorite color?
I guess I have to say red. I never used to like red, but when I bought the dragster, it was red. And after these 8 years, it's really grown on me. So, you know, I have a red Camaro. I have a red dragster. My toenails are red right now. I'm going to go with red.
All right. Now, do you have a biggest pet peeve at the track?
Biggest pet peeve? That's a good question. I never really thought about that. I'm struggling on that.
Now,
I guess when people come up and talk to you right after you lose a round, I'm not in a good mood usually after I lose, so I need at least like 30 minutes to decompress before people come and want to talk about the race.
Now, how about in life? You have a biggest pet peeve in life?
Biggest pet peeve in life? People who drive in the left lane that drive slow.
Yeah, that would do it for me too. Like you're in the wrong lane, idiot.
Yep. Move it.
All right, so now if people want to find out where you're going to be racing at, Amanda, what's the best way for people to find out your schedule?
So I have a Facebook page called Boicesco Racing. I try to keep it up to date with our schedule and results and pictures and videos from any of the races my dad and I go to. So definitely give us a follow.
Now, do you have a YouTube channel?
I might. It's been a very long time since I've uploaded anything on YouTube. There might be some videos on there, but most of my stuff's on Facebook.
Are you on any other social media platforms?
Yep. Instagram. My handle's at Amanda B 1999, I believe. And I don't really use Twitter anymore, so mainly Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. Well, Amanda, do you have any last words?
Just that I really appreciate you having me, and thank you. This was an awesome conversation, and it's getting me in the mood to drag race. So hopefully, in the next few months, we can get back out there.
Awesome. Well, you're welcome for the interview, and I wish you the best of luck with the new dragster, and I wish you the best of luck with the 2021 drag racing season.
Awesome. Thank you. You too. Take care.
We'll do another one in the future. Hopefully, we'll talk about some big wins with the new dragster.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. You have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye.
All right. Bye.